And getting into our final topic of the day. So we're talking another 5 of my top 100 films of all time, my personal favorites. So again, I like to say this before I list another 5. Quick disclaimer, all these films have the movie magic, Mikey's movie magic, and all these movies are ranked in a way that's my opinion. Like, it's my opinion. It's not objective fact that these are the 100 best films of all time. You know, if you're mad that, you know, your favorite film is, you know, not where it should be, well, you know, I don't really care, because this is my list and I can make it however I want. And I'm also not going to give any in-depth reviews on every single one of these films, because that would just take too long. So let's get into it here. We left on number 36, so we're on number 35. And number 35 is The Exorcist. That's right, The Exorcist. Probably the scariest film I've ever seen. Maybe not named The Shining. I think The Shining is a little bit higher on this list, so another spoiler. But The Exorcist is definitely a close second. I remember the first time I watched this, I was scared out of my fucking mind. I also remember watching this with a couple of friends, and this is kind of like an iconic movie for me and my friends to watch, which again, it kind of leads into that nostalgia factor. But yeah, probably one of the scariest films ever made. It's also interesting to find out, like, you know, the behind the scenes of it, and how, I guess, like, the set was cursed or something like that. So yeah, The Exorcist is very creepy. Holds up too, over time. I mean, this film was made in what year? I think in the 70s, wasn't it? Why doesn't it list it on Rotten Tomatoes? Rotten Tomatoes is so bad. I hate this goddamn website. But I don't even know why I look at it. But it has an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, if that means anything to you. But yeah, The Exorcist is great. Check it out if you haven't. If you're a horror fan, you've seen The Exorcist. If you're not a horror fan, definitely don't watch this one, because you won't be able to sleep for a week. But yeah, The Exorcist. 73. Yep, 1973. Okay, cool. All right, so moving on to number 34 in my list, we got, I don't know if this is the first war film or not. I have to look back, but we're talking Saving Private Ryan. Came out in 1998, which is surprising. It's not a 2000 film. I thought it came out in the 2000s, but it came out in 98. Probably one of the most memorable openings of any war film, any film in general, probably. One of the more disturbing ones. I know it's been heralded as, like, oh yeah, it's probably the most realistic war experience that has been put to screen, which is an outstanding feat for Steven Spielberg. You know what? Yeah, I think this is my favorite war film of all time. I don't think there's any war films ahead of this one. So yeah, I think Saving Private Ryan is my favorite war film. Now, is it a little bit, overly dramatic at times and kind of Oscar-y, I guess, at times? Yeah. But I like those scenes a lot, and I think they work heavily. And it's, you have to remember it's a war film, and I feel like the film Dunkirk, Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk, really, did not benefit from this film existing, because people constantly compared Saving Private Ryan to Dunkirk, even though they're completely different films, even though they're under the same genre. But yeah, Saving Private Ryan, probably, I think, the best war film ever made, in my opinion. I don't know, comment below if you have another one that's better. But yeah, probably one of the most memorable Tom Hanks performances, one of the most memorable opening scenes. Yeah, and a good ending too, and a very emotional ending too, Earn this. Anyway, so moving on to number 33, we have another disturbing film. I don't know what that says about me, but we got Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, so probably one of the most iconic villain performances ever, with Anthony Hopkins and Hannibal Lecter, but Buffalo Bill, underrated villain. Underrated, disturbing performance. It puts the lotion in the basket. It puts the lotion in the basket. Puts the lotion on its skin, or it gets the hose again. I don't know. Like, I'm so weird. Like, I don't know why I love this film so much. I mean, it's probably because it's incredibly well made and probably one of the more suspenseful films ever made. Holds up. That ending scene in the dark with, the night vision goggles, like, you know what I'm talking about. That scene is fucking scary, dude. Like, intense. Hannibal Lecter's creepy and iconic performance. Like, you like him, but also like, you like root for a cannibal. Like, that's what this film does. So, yeah, great film, amazingly well done. Probably my favorite Jodie Foster performance. I mean, probably my favorite Anthony Hopkins performance as well. Some of it's actually filmed in the city of Pittsburgh, which, is cool for me because I'm from Pittsburgh too. So it's always fun to see that. Just probably one of the more iconic films on this list, I feel like, Silence of the Lambs. I quote it a lot, and people look at me weird every time I do. But, hey, I will continue to do that. So, Silence of the Lambs, number 33. So moving on to 32, this is an interesting one because this kind of counts as 3 films, and I'm talking Lord of the Rings. If I had to choose one, I'd probably go Fellowship because it's the first one. I probably like it the most. Return of the King is pretty close for me, too. I mean, Twin Towers has that awesome fucking ending battle scene, which is so good. I mean, Lord of the Rings, just as a franchise, can just kind of go at this spot. I'm probably cheating with that because I have, the Star Wars movies have individual places on this list, but I don't know. The Lord of the Rings, it's just like each film is just so close to me. And like when I watch one, like I have to like watch the next one the next day. Have you comment below if you've ever had a Lord of the Rings marathon and you've actually watched all 3 films in the same day. Comment below because I've tried it a couple of times and we've only gotten through the first one and the second one. We've never gotten through Return of the King. But comment below if you've actually done it. I would love to hear, and how like, how much fun was it and like what you guys like do before or after, in between films. It's fun to do, to try to make it through and have fun with it. Lord of the Rings is great. Epic films. We'll not talk about the Hobbit films because they don't exist in my opinion. Because they're kind of bad. But the Lord of the Rings are it's one of the greatest trilogies of all time. It's up there with the Dark Knight trilogy, Indiana Jones, Star Wars. It's up there, for some of the greatest movie trilogies of all time. So moving on to our final film, number 31. Yet again, another disturbing one. I don't know, man. Maybe I don't know what's with me and loving these like suspenseful, horror, disturbing films, but we're talking Seven, which is probably one of the more disturbing films like ever. I feel like that one scene with the fucking that dude with the strap on. Oh my god! Like I'm not even gonna mention that. Like that, thinking about that is horrible. But anyway, Seven, amazing, one of the best endings ever, if not the best. One of the best ending scenes ever. What's in the box? Iconic. I know the studio wanted them to change it, but thank God Fincher and Brad Pitt threatened to quit if they had to change it. Thank God that's the original ending that they went with. Amazing. Again, a little different because it's Kevin Spacey now, and we know what he's done. I mean, but again, doesn't really matter. Maybe even enhances the experience for you because he's a psycho in this film. Amazing film, amazing portrayal of the 7 deadly sins. So good, suspenseful, one of the best murder mystery films ever. Incredibly well directed. The themes in the film are also very good. Has a cool, bittersweet ending, which I really like a lot. And you can also kind of take it either way, which I appreciate, like some, leeway to interpret however you want. Seven's great. Probably one of Fincher's best. It's not my favorite Fincher film, But that one's really high on this list. But this is one of my more favorite ones. So yeah, now will any of these films change in order? Maybe. I think maybe the highest potential out of any of them is probably maybe Lord of the Rings, I would say. But yeah, all five of the we're getting to some pretty heavy hitters now. We're talking the low 30s. We're going to be getting the high 20s now. We're gonna be getting to the top 20 soon, and then eventually top 10 films of all time for me. So we're getting close to down to the like my stepdad likes to say, nitty gritty here. Hello there. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you're unfamiliar with this channel, this is Nerd Out Sanctuary. I'm your host, Michael. What do I talk about, you say? Well, I talk about anything nerdy. So that's movies, video games, TV shows, comic books every once in a while. Books, maybe not. I don't know. Anything that I feel like talking about. I'm a huge nerd. I hope you're a huge nerd, and I hope we can enjoy our nerdiness together here. This is a full audio podcast available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, the major podcast platforms. So consider going over to those and checking out the full version of the episode. And other past episodes, please leave me a review and subscribe on those platforms. If you don't want to do that, clipped, shorter versions of those full episodes will be posted here on YouTube. So consider subscribing and liking the videos for more to support me and future content that I will be producing in the future on nerdy stuff. So yeah, thank you, and see you on the next one.